Tonight, we're diving into one of the most explosive late-night interviews ever recorded, where what started as typical late-night banter quickly spiraled into something nobody in that studio was prepared for. Make sure to hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think really triggered this whole situation, because what you're about to hear is going to leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about both of these personalities. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon was supposed to be a simple, safe appearance. Trump had been there before, many times, actually, and every visit carried the same tone, playful jokes, light commentary, the occasional political poke that never drew blood. Fallon's entire identity as a host was built on the idea that his show was a safe space, a comedy bubble, a place where no one got pushed into real conflict. But from the second Trump stepped out onto that glowing stage, something was off, something electric, dangerous, unpredictable. The audience clapped and cheered, but Trump's wave felt robotic, like a required gesture rather than a genuine greeting. He sat down slow, heavy, as if he carried the weight of his own reputation on his shoulders. Fallon gave his typical warm welcome, smiling wide, his voice full of praise. But Trump did not return the warmth. His response was sharp, immediate, and aimed directly at Jimmy's comfort zone. He claimed the media had been treating him unfairly, and he made it clear Jimmy played a role in that mistreatment. Fallon's grin faltered, just for a millisecond. He tried steering toward harmless questions, golf, vacations, anything that would break tension. But Trump wasn't interested in lightness. He accused Fallon of pretending to be neutral while attacking him every night. Fallon laughed, but it sounded like a man who suddenly realized he didn't know the rules of the room anymore. The studio audience grew silent, unsure whether to laugh at the tension or sit respectfully as the conversation grew darker. Trump leaned in closer, voice dropping low enough to make his frustration sound like accusation. He didn't want jokes, he wanted accountability, and he wanted it from Fallon. Jimmy tried to deflect again with practiced friendliness, but Trump wasn't letting go. He called Fallon's comedy poison, saying it divided America instead of entertaining it. The atmosphere changed instantly. Producers panicked behind glass. Fallon's charm began to crack. Trump accused him of abandoning comedy for political warfare, and Fallon pushed back, challenging Trump's own behavior instead. The interview was no longer a performance. It was a confrontation of worldviews, values, and identities. Fallon defended satire. Trump condemned manipulation. Their smiles vanished, their voices sharpened, and everyone in the room understood something monumental was happening. Trump continued pressing forward, refusing to let Fallon take control of his own stage. He pointed directly at Jimmy, accusing him of hiding behind humor to attack his character and policies. Fallon, visibly tense now, leaned back in his chair like a man trying to find stability in a collapsing environment. He reminded Trump that late-night hosts have always made jokes about presidents, from Nixon to Obama, and that comedy wasn't hatred, it was commentary. But Trump didn't buy it. He demanded accountability. Why turn entertainment into personal assault? Fallon, pushed into a corner emotionally and professionally, finally broke his neutral host persona. He fired back that maybe the reason comedians had so much material to work with was because Trump made himself such an enormous public figure. That maybe the comedy wasn't cruelty, it was reflection. Trump scoffed. He listed his accomplishments, his business empire, winning the presidency, shaping national policy. Fallon countered that being president didn't make a person immune to jokes. The energy in the room thickened like smoke. The audience didn't laugh or clap. They watched, absorbing history. Fallon told Trump that laughter brings joy to a divided world. Trump responded that Fallon was not bringing joy at all, only fueling division and resentment. Trump's words hit with surgical precision, tearing into Fallon's design of himself as a harmless entertainer. Jimmy swallowed hard. He looked toward his band, toward his camera crew, hoping someone would signal a break. But nobody moved. Nobody dared interrupt. What felt like a cultural earthquake, unraveling on live TV. Fallon accused Trump of having thin skin. Trump fired back that he'd endured more brutality than any president in modern history. Their voices rose. The confrontation no longer playful or performative. Two men defending decades of identity and belief. Fallon said he held leaders accountable. Trump said Fallon only pretended to. while pushing a political narrative disguised as jokes. They weren't just debating, they were indicting one another's character. Trump leaned closer, eyes burning. Fallon no longer hid behind politeness. They talked over each other, cutting sentences short, stepping into territory interviews rarely reach. Fallon told Trump America laughs at the things he says and does. Trump claimed, America laughs because late-night television distorted him into a cartoon villain. The accusation rattled Fallon. He paused, realizing Trump believed Fallon helped rewrite public perception of him. The crowd sensed they were watching real damage unfold. And the segment was only beginning. The room's tension reached a breaking point as Trump stood, suddenly from his chair. His movement alone sent shockwaves through the studio. The audience gasped, unsure whether they were witnessing a walkout, a meltdown, or a new level of confrontation. Fallon rose, too, instinctively refusing to be looked down on, literally or metaphorically. They were face to face now, abandoning the seated politeness expected from talk shows. Trump accused Jimmy and the entire Hollywood ecosystem of destroying the bridge between entertainment and truth. He said they weaponized comedy to influence politics, shaping opinions through strategically chosen punchlines. Fallon fired back that truth required confrontation, that ignoring wrongdoing for the sake of comfort was cowardice, not entertainment. Trump asked whether Fallon admitted using his platform to shape political narratives rather than entertain. Jimmy didn't deny it. He claimed some moments demand honesty over humor, that entertainers have a responsibility to society beyond laughter. It was a bold confession, and the audience reacted with stunned silence. Then Trump shifted the battlefield. He accused Fallon of manipulation, turning complex issues into easy jokes for applause. Fallon demanded to know what Trump called convincing millions that negative reporting was fake news. Each claimed the other shaped reality more dangerously. Suddenly, their debate wasn't about jokes anymore. It was about truth, perception, and responsibility. It was about the power of influence. Fallon said Trump attacked people personally on social media. Trump reminded him that Jimmy attacked nightly through comedy. Both paused, recognizing uncomfortable parallels. For the first time, Fallon wavered, admitting that maybe late-night humor had gone too far sometimes. Trump seized the moment, saying entertainment created cultural wounds impossible to reverse. Fallon answered that ignoring real problems in the name of positivity would have been worse. The studio air felt electric, the cameras capturing a raw exchange that no producer planned. It was not political theater, it was a national argument projected into millions of living rooms. Two men who symbolized America's divide, battling over how the country got here. Finally, Fallon asked what could fix this fractured relationship between politics and comedy, between truth and entertainment, between people. Trump answered honestly, maybe nothing could. Maybe America had crossed a threshold. The words landed heavy. Fallon forced a weak joke, attempting to lift the mood. But Trump corrected him. This wasn't a night for laughter. For once, both men agreed. Fake harmony was worse than real conflict. They sat slowly again, both exhausted, the fire between them settling into quiet recognition. When the cameras kept rolling, something unexpected unfolded, not fury, not shouting, but reflection. Fallon stared across the desk at Trump, the air thick between them. The audience waited for a punchline that never came. Trump admitted that maybe they had gone too far, not just tonight, but in the culture war they represented. Fallon breathed deeply, trying to process what had happened. He apologized, not overtly, not directly, but in tone, acknowledging that comedy can wound people even when laughter feels harmless. Trump nodded, not triumphantly, but solemnly, accepting that leadership often produces unintentional enemies and unending criticism. Their chaotic conversation had burned away performance, revealing two exhausted men. Jimmy looked to the audience and confessed he wished things could go back to a time when celebrities came on his show to eat weird food, play silly games, and make people happy, not debate the future of American identity. Trump stared at the floor for a moment before admitting he wished the same. That was the real shock of the night, not the shouting, not the accusations, but the glimpse of humanity beneath the personas. For a brief moment, Trump wasn't a political general, and Fallon wasn't a comedic warrior. They were two people overwhelmed by the consequences of their roles in shaping public opinion. whether intentionally or through the natural weight of influence. Fallon whispered that the country was tired. Tired of being angry. Tired of picking sides. Tired of choosing entertainment or truth as if they were enemies. Trump muttered that maybe the country needed to stop expecting TV hosts and presidents to solve existential problems. The band remained silent. The producers froze. This wasn't entertainment, it was confession. Eventually, Fallon thanked Trump for coming on. Trump thanked Jimmy for letting him speak freely, though the word freely felt ironic considering how trapped they both were in public images. The final handshake was stiff, awkward, almost painful to witness. Two men who had torn into each other for nearly an hour now stood shoulder to shoulder as credits rolled, unsure if the world would see honesty or humiliation in what they did. The audience applauded, hesitant at first, then louder, unsure whether they were cheering courage or simply relieved the tension had ended. Fallon looked into the lens and promised more conversation tomorrow, though everyone sensed tomorrow would be different. The interview was over, but the debate was not. It would replay across America, across social media, across political lines, igniting arguments for years. And both men knew it.